Good afternoon and many blessings here from Reiko Blackheart. Again, we are back again with our lovely Sunday detox. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking on the subjects of stigmas. This time we're going to be talking a little bit more on stereotypes more than anything. So, negative stereotypes that tend to come on us, especially as African American women, as well as African Americans, as well as some of the opinionated opinions I've gotten from different generations and different races, which unfortunately I wasn't able to actually get them to come on the show today because of social distancing. I hope you guys are practicing social distancing responsibly. Some of those appointments are not really essential, so I hope you guys are not trying to dip out for those appointments, and you guys know which ones I'm talking about. So, stereotypes. If you guys could not already tell already, I am a lovely African American woman. Well, I am a mixed mud. I do have a couple of different races inside of me, just like everybody else who is African American in the world. And I do claim all of my lovely races inside of myself. But of course, when you select what race you are, I do say African American because that is the dominance. You can't sit here and say other and then say, yeah, I'm mixed with four different things. So, as a black woman, we are always having the stigma or the stereotype on us that we are angry and we are very power hungry. No, there's a difference between being angry and just not taking shit from anybody. As a woman, we just know we will not settle for less because we have settled for less in the past and we have been done wrong or taken advantage of. Yes, we are the most powerful of all women because of the fact of being of the stuff that we've gone through and the things that we have actually had to deal with. And the stereotype actually holds on to us real hard when you look at us and we have red bitch face and we typically turn down guys left and right. It's not that we are turning down guys because we're stuck up. It's just that we have had our time wasted, our energy wasted, our love and affection wasted, or we've had those black guys who basically throw in our face, so you know what? I'd rather date a white woman because all black women are angry. I look at it this way. It's not that all women are angry. It's just that all black women are angry. It's just that we know we will not settle for anything less than greatness because we have gone through a lot of stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot of stereotypes and a lot of stigmas that come along with it. And one thing that I can honestly say is I know a lot of white women who are angry too. They just take it a little bit differently. Just like they sit here and say that, white women typically will murder their husbands or they will sit here and get upset and they tend to be the more freaky one. As Zeb said a while ago, there is good stereotypes and then there's bad stereotypes, and more people listen to the good stereotypes when it comes to certain races, and some of them listen more to the bad stereotypes when it comes to women. Like for me, a lot of people say because I've gone so long without being in a relationship that I'm stuck up and that I only care about myself. No, it's not that. It's just that I have gone through a lot of stuff and I know me. I will be easily taken advantage of because of how I am. Once I invest myself into a person, I invest into that person. If I typically talk to men or any females, I'm looking for a partner that I'm going to rely on. And even then, if I'm sitting here and I'm considering being in a relationship with you, I'm going to, in a way, submit to you because I felt comfortable enough to get into a relationship that I know that at the end of the day, you are going to handle that. So it's just a matter of perspective and asking that person, like, why are you the way that you are, versus just up and assuming, oh, she's a stuck up, black, angry woman, and she's gone through all this stuff. That's the reason why she don't want to end up talking to me or she doesn't want to function with me. No, there's always two sides to the story, and a lot of people don't want to look at the other side. They automatically want to assume. Stereotypes is one of those things that it's matter of like interpretation. It's you're gonna automatically look at it versus try to invest and have a little curiosity on why that person is the way that they are. Just like they sit here and say that the girls who are the mean girls is the ones that most guys are attracted to because they're harder to get. It's more of a challenge. No, maybe we play hard to get because we've known in the past that guys have taken advantage of us or got what they wanted and leave. It's not a matter of us being hard to get. If you come up to us straightforward with what you actually want, we already know what you want. So if you approach us, talk about, hey mom, you let me get your number. Oh, your man won't let you have friends. Like at the end of the day, we hit you with all those lines, boom, 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 and you coming back with rebuttals. We would appreciate you more if you just sit here and say, you know what, mom, I don't even want anything serious with you. I just want to go ahead and hit it and quit it and call it a day. We would appreciate you more, and you'll less likely end up getting turned down if you sit here and say this is what you want. But when you sit here trying to feed us all these lines, talk about let me get some of your time, I want to invest in you, this, that, and the other, and we can already see through the bullshit, of course we're gonna keep shutting you down. It's not a matter of being stuck up, it's a matter of we know that guys' intentions are at the time. We can kind of already sense, is this more of a sexual attraction, or is this person really curious on trying to get to know me? And we would appreciate you more if you would like to invest, because usually within 5 minutes, guys can actually determine whether or not, oh, I just want to have sex with this girl, or I actually might want to invest and be friends with her, this, that, and the other. So that's how it is. Just think of it in a different perspective. It's not a matter of us being stuck up. We would just rather you come with us on 100. That's it. Now, when it comes down to, you know, other races, I sit here and look at it as this. I have a lot of friends who are white. I have a lot of friends who are, Native American, West Indian, Jamaican, from the islands and stuff. And of course, it's all a different matter of opinion. It's we as black women, we just don't take shit because we've had a lot of shit thrown at us. And then as they would say that with white girls, they tend to end up having everything thrown to them. And like I said, they look at it in a different perspective. If you sit here and you look at, let's say, some of these porn sites, they sit here and have a lot more white women on there than they have black women, because they typically say white women are freakier because they are willing to do more freaky stuff. No, that is wrong. There is a lot of stereotypes out there where there is a lot of black women who would do the exact same thing white girls would do when it comes down to sex and other different positions and moves and this, that, and the other. It's just that there's that good stereotype that is placed on them because they are known for doing it. Or if they say, oh yeah, Asian girls, they typically, will destroy and swallow XYZ, the eggplant. But it's just a matter of opinion. It is just one of those things where you have to understand those are just stereotypes. Just like there are stereotypes with men where they say, oh, guys with big feet has big dicks. In all actuality, I've met a few guys who have big feet and they don't have big dicks, or they're tall guys and they don't have anything. It's just one of those things where you can't just go off of stereotypes. You can't just sit here and look at somebody's lips and be like, oh, so they must be able to eat the boss, and they may be a guy that may not even eat the boss. Stereotypes is one of those things that, like I said, it's a matter of opinion, and we're so quick to gossip versus making our own interpretation about that person. We will stay away from good people because of how their demeanor, how they're looking, and their race. You may meet somebody who, and as a black woke person, oh man, I don't want to fuck with no white people because they don't know our struggles. They don't know what we went through. Not realizing there is a lot of white people in the ghetto. There's a lot of white people who have grown up in the same kind of environments as some black people. There is a lot of people in Chicago, in New York, who grew up in the hood. And if you sit here and hear them on the phone, you couldn't tell that they're white until they say their name because of what they've gone through. They've gone through the same thing. Their parents probably, treated them the same way, and a whole village helped raise them. You never know until you actually meet that person and stick a moment in their shoes. They sit here, and I get it when it comes down to stigma. If I sat here and had my dad on this podcast right now, he will tell you that yes, white people may go through the same struggle, but it's a different type of struggle. Yes, everything is a different struggle. Everybody's struggle is different. Even those who lived in the hood. Black people in the community, all of our struggles are different. It might be slightly peaked. It might be something different, slightly. But honestly, we are all like snowflakes. Everyone's different. Everybody's situation is different. I know some people who grew up in the same neighborhood, and then five of them grew up, got out the hood, and did something better with their lives. And then there's some of them who just became a victim of their situation. It is a matter of how you take what's going on in your life when it comes down to your stereotypes. And honestly, it's so bad because I don't go by my real name, my first name often unless you know me in person, because my first name you can hear, like a person who is hiring people can hear my name and automatically like, oh, she's black, she must be ghetto, blah blah blah. That's why I go by my nickname or I go by my middle name, because my middle name is a common name that could either be white or it could be black. And I like my middle name. Honestly, that could have been my first name first. But honestly, at the end of the day, I always shorten my name and just go with what I know. But I also go by Reiko because Reiko is beautiful, lovely child, and I am somebody's child, and I am gonna still be a beautiful regardless. So when it comes down, stereotypes is all around us. And then like if we go into like the business aspect, and I'm a person who is part of a hiring team, and I listen to names all day. And I can tell you, as a person who is a supervisor and help with the hiring process, I've witnessed it where people who have common names like Megan, Sarah, Jen, Jennifer, Karen, Zachary, Jean, John, they're more likely to get looked at, put on the top of the list versus a Latoya, a Latanya, a Jaquisha, a Tyrone, a Akon, a like things of those nature, like those typical names. They look at those names and look at they don't even they just look at the names and that's it. They don't even go down and look and see what their qualifications is. Like for all you know, Akon could have a master's degree in management and business and had the best upbringing in the world and had everything going to him for him to be African American, or he could even be white. But his name alone already ran red flags and said that, oh, because of his name, bam, he has to be black and he probably is going to be lazy. And that's another stereotype and a stigma that gets on my nerves because they say that African Americans are lazy. In all actuality, we're really not. We just have to do everything a lot more and a lot more hustle than other people do. We are not given the leisures or the foot or the stepping stone to make it for, we have to create it for ourselves. So every step we make we have to create, while there's already a predetermined ladder or staircase for some other races. And even then I can even say for those who live in Iran and in the west side of the hemisphere, living over in India and everything else like that, Egypt, they're not already living luxurious like some people think. They have it far worse than a lot of other people, and we make it such a race war, like, oh, I have a bigger struggle, oh, I have a bigger struggle. Everybody has their own struggle, and we can never sit here and just automatically assume. And that's the whole reason why this month is all about stigmas, stereotypes, and looking at it from different other perspectives, because you don't know what a person's gone through, their situations, their upbringing, what they have to go through on a day-to-day basis. And the thing is, you don't realize and you can't appreciate anybody if we continuously look at stigmas and stereotypes and think that somebody's better off than somebody else. Yes, don't get me wrong, I have a podcast. Everybody who talks to me sit here and say, oh, she's willing, she's able to talk about her mental health, her anxiety, her depression, and she must be strong. No, baby. That is by all means the polar opposite. I am not strong. It's just a matter of perspective. Everything. I suggest at one point in time, if you have a diverse group of friends, and I tell this even to like woke friends, the ones who like, I'm pro African American, black pride, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, take a moment and talk to your friends in other races. You automatically assume that our struggle's different. Our struggle is similar in its own ways. Our stereotypes make us sit here and have a moment and forget that everybody comes from their own background. And then a lot of people don't understand that not every black person has gone through the same stereotypes that most other black people went through. For all you know, I could have been a well middle class African American, but my parents came from a lower like class, like, poverty stricken in the hood. And you would never know that. You wouldn't know. I'm not saying that's how my background is, but you would never know. But you look at me, look at the front end, hear my first name, and think, oh, this woman, she's probably not educated. She probably don't know nothing from nothing. And then if I sit here and say where I'm from, now I got people from the hoods like, oh, she don't know the struggle. She don't know what I've gone through. You don't know what a person's gone through until you talk to them. You can't just assume and judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a book by their name. You can't judge a book by where they grew up. Nothing. I've learned that the hard way because I've met a lot of people from the south side of Chicago, and they are the most business oriented people in the world. Making things of themselves, owning their own business, like legally, not illegally, legally. You listen to my dad and you be like, yeah, he's loud, but it's just because that's how he communicates. He's the oldest. Well, he's not the oldest. He's the second youngest out of 4 kids. So he has to speak up because his voice was never heard. And now for him to be the second youngest, he's the one who takes care of his older siblings. Sometimes people automatically assume the older sibling is always the mature one, but in all actuality, it may be the third child who takes care of all the other kids, or even the baby that takes care of all the older kids. People automatically assume, and I've always said, assuming makes an ass out of you and me, and that's something I learned from my parents. Stereotypes exist, and the only way for us to break stereotypes and for us to stop is that we got to stop spreading the stereotypes, because not everybody is a stigma or a living proof of their stereotype. This is going to be the last time this month I'm going to talk about stereotypes, and then we will next month talk more in depth about other things, because right now the reason why I wanted to end with this one with stereotypes is because I was sitting here and I was watching and I was listening all over this couple weeks where they are talking about different stigmas and stereotypes when it comes down to this entire quarantine situation, how white people are sitting here supposedly bettering their skin and getting bored of being on TikTok and bettering their lives, building businesses, and they're talking about, oh, black people are just sitting at home smoking weed, watching porn, and everything else like that. There's some black people out there who are making businesses, doing good, investing in their children's education, and we're so quick to judge and assume that people don't understand. And another thing that a lot of things that irked me about this entire month and everybody going on is they're saying that a lot of black people are just going to waste this stimulus check on meaningless things like buying weaves and buying unnecessary shoes and games and spending their money on porn. And you can't assume that's what people are going to do. Some of us took this time to pay our bills. Some of us took this time to invest in our businesses. Some of us took this time to invest in our children. And it's just, we are so conditioned to automatically assume the stereotypes about a person that we don't take a moment to talk to our friends that we keep in our circle. A lot of people don't realize that the people we keep in our circle is 5% of ourselves. So if you sit here and you're assuming your friends are wasting their money on meaningless things, guess what? That is a representation of you. So you can't just assume and put a stereotype on people, because guess what? You're also labeling yourself. Live in a carefree notion. That is just one of those things. You can't just automatically assume. You can't just label or put stereotypes on people. And another thing, one thing that I really got on my eye that really irked me, and I wanted to touch up on the subject. There was a Twitter trend where they were talking about guys cannot order dessert when they go out. There was a whole thing about that. Ordering dessert is a woman thing. That is a stereotype. That is a huge thing that I'm against. If I am on a date with a guy and the first thing he does is say, I want to go ahead and get this chocolate mudslide with a scoop of ice cream on top and this, I'll be like, babe, order it. For women to sit here and back that up and say that that is a female thing to do, maybe your guy may like sweets. There's nothing wrong with liking sweets. I feel as humans, we like something sweet in our lives. And that savoriness, let's say you just had a big steak dinner and now you want to complement it with some chocolate, some dark chocolate. And honestly, that's not wrong because in some countries, they will actually drizzle chocolate on a steak plate because they just complement each other. So for you to sit here and tell a guy or put that stereotype that, oh, only women can have dessert, you're not helping the cause. You're actually adding to the problem. Let people live their best lives. Don't label them with stereotypes. Don't label them with labels. In order for us to make this world a better place, is that we can't just keep assuming that one thing is better off for one race or one thing is better off for one sex or generation when we automatically assume. There's some open-minded people out there and there's some very closed-minded people out there. And stereotypes will always be stereotypes as long as we continuously have closed-minded people out there. Take a moment and educate yourself because not everybody comes from the same background. Not everybody takes living in poverty and just become drug dealers or, end up in jail. There's some people who end up in jail for being wrongfully accused, and that's that closed-mindedness. One thing I hope people take away from my podcast is that you don't know a person's background. Hopefully this will educate you to open up your mind, open up your soul, open up your heart to possibly not only protect yourself, but to learn from other people because we can learn so much from so many other people. We can't just assume that just because a person was raised differently from you that you can't learn nothing from them. Stereotypes will hold people back. They will be roadblocks. And in order for us to better and educate ourselves is we have to eliminate stereotypes and stigmas. People are going to live their best lives as long as it's not affecting you directly. And if you are curious, and as humans, that's how we learn, is curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat, yes, but satisfaction is always going to bring it back. You never know what you can learn from the next person. Don't just assume because of their name, their race, their generation, or even their sex. We can eliminate stereotypes by simply having conversations. Now, one thing I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know is I'm happy that you guys took time to come and join the podcast and listen to this week's episode. Now, I am going to do a week post check on my IG, which at handle lady underscore Reiko, that's Reiko. And it is going to be a live session that I'm going to host at 9 p.m. Eastern. You guys are welcome to join. You are welcome to add me on IG. We're going to have a live open discussion where people could come in, share their poems, share just their thoughts, share their energy. Now, this is not a normal podcast. This is just a weekly post check where you guys can join in, listen, put in your 2 cents, and just join. Again, that is going to be on my IG page. That is going to be at lady underscore Reiko, 9 p.m. Eastern this Wednesday. I hope you guys join. I hope you guys are staying hydrated. You're practicing good hygiene. And I hope you guys learn something. I hope you guys really learn something. The way I learn is I learn from others. And remember, guys, it is okay to not be okay. Protect your energy and keep going through the day. Bye.